Hey everyone, it's Trader Rob. Today is actually Saturday, June 6th. This is a video for my Sunday levels. Figured I'd get this video out a little bit sooner than I normally do. For those of you that receive my Sunday emails, you'll actually probably be receiving them this evening. And if you want to be notified of all of my weekly bands on the ES and the NQ, all of my tradable levels, I do give out an email report. It comes out every single Sunday. I am just trying to I've got a kind of a busy day tomorrow, so I'm trying to get some of these things done today. So you will be receiving that. And if you are not on that list, there's, I don't know, I think over 2,500 traders that get that list right now. If you want to be a part of that, you just have to go to my website, which is robstrades.com. Right when you go to the homepage, you'll get a kind of a pop-up, and all it's going to do is ask for your email and your name. And again, it's one email. It's very simple, and it just gives you all of the bands, all of the tradable levels for the upcoming week. With that being said, holy cow, what a Friday did we have of price action. And we kind of knew in our back of our heads that and I've been talking about it for about a month already, that we just haven't retraced any of our levels to the downside. There was a lot of unbalanced volume that we had to the downside. I didn't think it was going to come that dramatic and that steep of a decline. It was kind of a runaway freight train on Friday, but that's the market. We had some pretty positive employment news. I think, there was some spook there. We've already heard the Fed speakers already say that there is a possibility of a Fed rate increase, which we were all kind of assuming that in 2026 we'd probably be looking at either flat or possibly even a decline in the Fed rate. And with the kind of hawkish sentiment that the Fed was giving out that there could be an increase. Well, when you've got really good positive employment numbers, like how they came out with non-farm payrolls, that's actually, people look at that. Well, that's great. It's great for jobs. It's great for the economy, but employment is a very, very strong correlation with high employment numbers and higher inflationary, and there's pressure there on the Fed where they most likely might need to raise interest rates here to fight inflation. So, not saying that was the 1,000-point dump, but there was That was my initial thought when the report first came out, and then when I started to see kind of the negative price action that we were seeing, that was what I thought that the reaction was from. But ultimately, you got to trade what you see. Friday was a little bit tough. I finished the live stream. I think it was down. I honestly don't remember. I think it was down 1,100. Took a loss, took a win. Took another loss to finish the stream. So Cash Profit Friday, unfortunately, was not able to give out any of my session profits. But shortly after, in my Signal room that I keep trading with my Signal members, did take a really nice short on the NQ. Obviously, pretty easy if you were taking shorts on Friday. Most likely we're making money. Still possible not to. I mean, you saw I had a great short trade on my live stream and got tagged out, and just to see the price action go without me. So, even on those huge days, those are kind of tough, and they're tougher for volume-based traders. I think if you're just a straight price action trader, you probably did extremely well. For some volume traders, we're looking for those retracements. At least a nice impulsive move, break of structure, come back, retest that area, which I consider unbalanced volume, and then get some reactions from there. Well, when you get 1,000-point moves in a day to the downside, you're not going to see many retracements, but still was able to capitalize at least on one, and took, I think it was 28 points there to get me back in the green for Friday. Overall for the week, I think I'm up $3,400, which is great. It was a good start to June. And With that being said, we have a lot to go over because a lot of our bands got some bands held up really well, throughout the week, and on Friday there were some bands that just couldn't keep up with the pressure there. But stick around and we'll get right to it. As always, nothing that I state on my channel is financial advice. Trading futures or any type of trading is risky business. Any capital that is out there is at risk for loss. All right, so our my last video came out on May, what was that? The 31st, Sunday the 31st, right around here. Gave you guys a tradable level at the 75.61. We had a weekly band right below us. We talked about this a lot on the stream. 75.58 to the 75.05 with another level here at the 75.05. So we didn't gap into this weekly band. That was actually my anticipation, is that we would gap down into here for that Sunday open. We didn't. We actually continued with this uptrend. We finally, what was it? I believe it was on Wednesday. Yep, it was Wednesday that we started to kind of test this band here, and a little unfortunate on the. Sorry, having a hard time moving this thing here. You know what? Let me get this guy up. It's easier to annotate with this guy here. Hold on. All right, so we finally got price action here. We ended up missing this exact entry at the 75.61 by like less than a point. It was kind of tough, kind of tough. But you guys could see the nice rejection that we had off this level. Obviously, I was off by a point, 3 ticks. And it's unfortunate. That's one of the things that, for me, I do put a lot of pressure on myself with a lot of these tradable levels because they're right there. The bands give you, obviously, there's a big amount of volume there. So I have a little bit more flexibility on where exactly the volume is going to come. But I've been doing this for you guys for 2 years, and you guys have seen how well these react, how well these tradable levels react, and how many times we get very, very little drawdown. And then sometimes we'll get just like this. I see it sometimes on my signal where we will have price action coming in, we miss the signal, and we shoot to the upside. Now, again, we've learned already within the group that this now becomes invalidated on the second retap, because this was the move. This was the move that I was anticipating off of the level. I was just, sometimes it's 3 ticks, 2 ticks, a point and a half away from the level, and price goes there prior to hitting the exact number. So, sorry. Now, we then dipped into this weekly band, and I started getting really interested. I said, okay, now we're finally into this weekly band. And you guys all know how extremely, extremely difficult it is to get through these bands. And it goes very simple. It goes weekly band is your strongest band. I give you guys daily bands every single morning on Discord. So every single day you've got a roadmap for that exact day. This is more like your weekly roadmap that I give on Sunday. And then obviously your some of your scalping opportunities. Those typically I will map out within my signal group and whatever I see on my YouTube streams. So there's kind of like different levels to how I personally trade, but these levels, these weekly bands, extremely hard to get through. And I was curious because, we dipped into here on I believe it was on Wednesday. We actually closed the trading session down here. So I said, okay, well, let's see. Maybe, we get a strong push out of here, but nope. The band still held up. It could not get through that band at all, which was nice. Then Friday. Now let's talk about Friday. So Friday, we come down. We had an absolute dump to the downside, okay? So, but before that dump, what do we see? This is the first time that this level that I gave you at the 75.05 gets tested. Okay. Now that is almost a 25-point move to the upside on the ES. I say these are tradable, scalpable levels. That's exactly what they are. Now on the ES, we still haven't gotten down to any other weekly band, but there is a weekly band that's coming in below us. Again, if you receive my report, all of these bands are in there every single Sunday. All these tradable levels are in there. So currently, we've got 73.20 as a tradable level. That's below price action. And we've got this weekly band sitting here on the ES at the 72.41 to the 71.99. Okay. So, oops, let's get these out of our chart because we don't need these anymore. And let's now put in our new weekly band, which is it obviously formed on Friday. So 75.78 to the 75.45. And again, that's going to be the 75.78 to the 75.45. All right. So there is your new weekly band on the ES. Now let's get some tradable levels. We've got the 7600, which is sitting right up here. Let's get default and 7600. Or I think we're good there. All right, so your first tradable level, 7600. Second tradable level is going to be at the 75.58. 75.58. Again, sitting within this weekly band. You guys know how much I love these. These are great. Awesome level. And then we've got our third and final tradable level, the 74.99. 74.99. All right, so these are your three tradable levels, your new weekly band on the ES. We obviously have got a ton of unbalanced stuff sitting down here as well. So, you know, again, if you get that report, it keeps it clean. You can put it on your chart. I think it's the way to go. All right, now let's look at the NQ. So the NQ, if we go to the 31st, where is the 31st? No, this is the 4th. Sorry. Right here. All right, so my video came out right around here. Okay, and gave you guys a level at the 31.57. Gave you guys a weekly band here at the 31.25. Another tradable level at the 30.033. A few weekly bands here coming up. So let's see when we first tap in. All right, here's our first tap in right here. I don't know, guys. I mean, you tell me. You tell me what kind of reaction that is off of that level. I mean, you have it here on the video. You've got it. You go back on last Sunday. It's the level I give. Not sure what else to tell you. Now, I believe this is now almost Thursday evening. We do sweep this band. Okay, so the band this entire band didn't hold up. Okay, we swept it. Yeah, we got a nice reaction to the upside, but let's just say that didn't hold. Okay, because again, if you had a limit order here, a stop loss here, at least 2-to-1, you're probably not winning this trade with that sweep there. So one piece of interesting news. And then we go into Friday. So this is Friday morning. And we finally get our move down to the next tradable level, which is sitting here at the 30.033. Again, this one misses by a few points. We do get a nice reaction on the first actual tap here. Sorry, let me get this out of your way. So I know this is, you know, Doesn't look like he had a reaction here. This is a 15-minute candle. There was a pretty good, about 30-point reaction off of this tradable level right here. But then this is where it gets really interesting for me personally. We then get the huge dump. Okay, this was the start of the dump to the downside. This weekly band right here didn't hold up for shit. We then get to this next weekly band, which is crazy that we get through 3 bands almost in a day. I'll be honest with you, I've been doing this for 2 years and I don't think I've ever gotten price action to do this. Maybe in July of last year. I want to take that back. Maybe in July of last year. But so we get to our next weekly band. Again, this was a roadblock. As much as you can say, well, you can have a roadblock on a day that we drop 1,000, but there still was a roadblock. But you could still see that we swept it there just a tad. So okay, again, maybe not the best weekly level, best weekly bands on these, but again, you're in this very unique situation of extreme downwards pressure, and to still get reactions at the levels and the bands. I did have a signal, got fired away on Friday that got torn through. Took about an 8-point stop on that one, and then we make this huge dump to the downside, but you had a level sitting here at the 29,001. This level's been sitting here for probably about 3 weeks. And where was the reaction? Right at our level. Where did the market close? That one couldn't get through. Right at our level at the 28,804. So even though this price action was super negative to the downside, if you look at it, I think the levels and everything did okay. They did the best that they could under the circumstances. So let's get rid of all this. Let's get rid of all this. We'll say even though we cleaned up a bunch of bands, well, I'm going to be adding a bunch of bands because as we went up, we also came down. So we did leave a lot of unbalanced volume now to the top side, which again, I haven't said that in a long time. But give me some patience here with all these bands here now. So our first one from the top to the bottom is going to be the 3602 to the 3530. Again, that's the 3602 to the 3530. Boom. Okay, first weekly band sitting right here. Next one. Next band is going to be sitting at the 29,874 to the 29,802. Again, that's the 29,874 to the 29,802. Okay, here's our next weekly band. Let's go to our third weekly band, which is going to be at the 29,473 to the 29,400. 29,473 to the 29,400. Perfect. And our last band, 29,200 to the 29,127. 29,200 to the 29,127. I say this every week. I don't necessarily see this as a major problem for the Sunday open, but again, you want to avoid, you just want to be careful with the Sunday open. Make sure that we don't open somewhere up here, okay? If we open above a level, we're obviously not going to be taking a short right there, okay? So that would be a scenario where if we come back, we could see a reaction to the top side. But if we close to the downside and we come back up, yes, we're looking to fade that to the downside right there, okay? So I like to give that disclaimer every single Sunday. All right, I got 3 tradable levels for you guys. First one's going to be at the 3582. 3582. Okay, sitting in our first weekly band up there at the top. Second tradable level is going to be sitting at the 29,456. That doesn't look right. It's not right. 29,456. All right. There's your next tradable level sitting right in this weekly band. And your third and final level is going to be at the 29,018. 29,018. There you go. Those are all of your tradable levels, your bands, everything for this upcoming week. I know it was a lot, but it was a lot of information that I had to kind of cover for you guys. Really having a really fun time with the stream and with the Signal group. I start every single morning at 7 a.m., trade live for you guys. And we've been going till about 10:30, 11 o'clock, so almost a good 4 hours in the morning, 3 to 4 hours in the morning. So if you're interested in joining the Signal group, there's a link in the description. It's $59 a month. I think it's a really good investment. Not only do you get the signals, you get the live trading room with less than a second lag, less than a second delay. So as you see my charts, you're seeing them. A lot of great videos on there, and it's a good group of very like-minded individuals that have all adapted this unbalanced volume approach to the markets. And with my AVT strategy, it's just become nice. It's become a really nice thing. And obviously I go live on YouTube. So if you want to watch me there on YouTube, you can as well. And lastly, I hate to sound like a commercial, but if you are going to be using any type of prop firms, I do have affiliations with 3: Apex, Tradeify, and Lucid. So if you're going to use, you are going to be thinking about purchasing any of those, and you do want to support the channel, just use code TraderRob. I do appreciate it. And again, I apologize for the commercial there at the end, but hopefully you guys get some value of what I give you guys here every single day. Take care, everybody.